How much do we know about the 16 Afghan civilians who were massacred, allegedly by U.S. soldier? Not much. And that really troubles my next guest, Dean Obeidallah. He's joining us from New York. He is the co-founder of the Arab American Comedy Festival and a frequent contributor to CNN.com. So, Dean, nice to have you here. You wrote an op-ed piece this morning, and it caught our attention. I want to read just a little bit of it here for our viewers. The U.S. media has treated the 16 victims as statistics, not human beings. If they were human, we would at least know their names and ages. We might even have heard from their classmates or family members about the kind of people they were. Maybe they, too, were happy-go-lucky, like Sergeant Bales. And why do you suppose that the media in general, we have not heard more about the victims in this case?
You know, that's my question, Suzanne. Why don't we have a full portrait of Robert Bales? He's 38, he has 2 children. We hear about him vacationing, playing high school football. We've heard testimonials from friends and fellow soldiers. We haven't heard his religion, but we can safely assume it's not Muslim, because if it was, that would be the headline. But we haven't heard anything more about the 16 people. We've heard them described as villagers and civilians, as 9 children and 3 women. But what about their names, their ages? Let's hear about them as human beings and not statistics. Why the media doesn't do it, I think partly is because they don't think we want to hear it. Maybe part it's a struggle in Afghanistan and the defense of the media. But now, a week later, it's time. Let's hear about them. Let's put a human face on this loss caused undisputably by U.S. hands. If it's this soldier or the soldier with others, we're not sure, but I don't think there's any dispute that the U.S. involvement in this. So we should hear about the people that our soldiers sadly have killed.
Do you think it's possible that Americans see the Afghans as a whole, as the enemy, that people are not distinguishing the Afghan people from the extremists, from al-Qaeda, from the Taliban?
I think that's one of the consequences of not learning about the other side. It's very easy to demonize the other when they don't have a human face, when you don't know about their dreams and hopes, like you hear about ours. If someone loses their child, we hear about their story, their backstory. And I think it's easy to view them monolithically. All brown people, all Muslims, they're bad. We don't know much about them. And that's why it really moves me to say that we need to hear more about them. It does paint a different, more full human picture from my fellow Americans about who these people are.
What do you think that is? Do you think that's racism? Do you think that's just people who are focused on their own lives and they're not really paying attention to people who look different than themselves?
I think for the average American, we look to you, the media, to give us that information. Americans obviously are busy people. It's a tough economy and making ends meet. They're not going to go out and investigate the people in Afghanistan or across the Middle East. Well, that's where we need the media to fill in that gap. I don't think Americans are inherently racist, no, but I think if they have no information to balance it, they're only going to see the negative. And that's why, to me, that's why I wrote the op-ed, is try to inspire the media to come forward and paint a human picture. Let's hear from their classmates. Let's hear about what they were going to do with their lives. Let's hear about the family members. We don't even know their names. I mean, you look it up, it's so hard to find. The Wazir and the Jan family, the 2 biggest families that lost relatives. But that was so hard to even find in any mainstream media.
All right. Well, we do have Sarah Seidner, who's doing a pretty good job of explaining who they are on the ground, but clearly looks like more context and more profiles are needed. Dean, thanks again. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Suzanne.